I am doing something that I should have done a long time ago, and that is installing a NAS into my workflow. NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. Don't go anywhere yet, because you might need a NAS. You might not even realize that you need one, but you might need one. So first, let's go over what is a NAS and why might one need a NAS. For the what is a NAS, we are going with the UGREEN DXP4800 Plus here. UGREEN was very kind to send this over for me and sponsor this whole setup of me finally getting a NAS system. What is a NAS? A NAS is essentially the cloud, right? So you might put some files in the cloud and you think it's like a real cloud, like it's up there in the ether somewhere. It's not. Like whatever service you are using as your cloud service, it's just on their hard drives in some building. You don't know where it's at, and you can only access it via the internet, which means that as fast as your internet speed is how quickly you can add files to the cloud and how quickly you can access those files from the cloud. This right here is going to be my cloud. And with this setup, I can then access the files that I put on here anywhere in the entire world. So no matter, let's say I was in Dubai on another cool trip and I have a bunch of like my old footage on this thing sitting on my desk from Dubai, I can go into the cloud, which again is essentially just me remotely accessing the hard drives that are sitting on my desk at home, and I can pull video footage from there, or I could drop photos and videos onto there. So I could be backing up photos and videos while we travel around the world to the hard drives sitting on my desk. And with this one in particular, this enclosure, that's essentially what you're buying. You can then put any hard drives in here. So this is a 4-bay setup. Each bay can take up to 24 terabytes of a hard drive. They were nice enough to send over 4 Western Digital 4 terabyte hard drives, so that would be 16 terabytes total. That is not nearly enough for me, so I'm gonna set this up so I can learn how to use it, kind of see what the experience is like, but I'll probably be swapping these out for maybe 18-ish. I might go all the way. If I like it, I'm just gonna go buy 4 24 terabyte hard drives. I'm gonna load this thing up. It can also take 2 8 terabyte SSD drives. So all in, this thing in one enclosure could be 112 terabytes of photos and videos, and that's a good amount. Okay, so this is kind of gonna explain more of it. See, it's just an enclosure where I'm gonna be able to take these 4 hard drives, RAID it in a RAID setup together to create one large hard drive, and then this, using UGREEN software, will make like the cloud that I will then be able to access from anywhere in the world. And while this is great for me because of like, while I travel, I can access footage here, I've also been thinking recently about maybe hiring an editor. I've never done it on the channel. I edit all of these videos, but I'm thinking about doing it. If you work in a collaborative environment, like multiple people are working together, having one NAS that you can all access is like insanely important. Oh, see, I knew that there was something like this. Look at this. There's a tab in here. Oh yeah, look at that. It's that simple to install it. I just press that tab and it opens, and that releases the drive, and then I pop that in there and I just snap it closed, and instead of putting screws on the sides, I don't need that at all, because now this thing just locked it. It's locked in place. I have loaded all 4 hard drives. That took me 15-20 seconds. Okay, now it just looks like I'm gonna plug it in and then hook it up to my computer, where I'll then figure out how to, it says I have to bind it with the web client. Figure out how hard that is. Okay, it has been a few days with the DXP4800 Plus. I've just been throwing a ton of files at this thing, trying to upload and download from different places. I'm for sure going to be buying much larger hard drives for this because this is going to be my NAS system. Let's talk through everything that I've learned, pros and cons on this system. The biggest pro, I think, is the setup is incredibly simple. For all of these years, the reason I haven't had a NAS is, again, because before it was just so complicated. With this system, you essentially plug an Ethernet cable from here into your router, and then as long as your computer is on the same Wi-Fi network that your router is on, assuming that it would be, you go into the UGREEN app on the computer and boom, it just sees it. And it's like, hey, is that the one that you want to set up? You walk through the steps. It was able to set up the 4 hard drives into a volume, and then it helped me put it into a RAID array. Now, if you don't know anything about RAID arrays, go watch another video. They recommended a RAID 5 array, which I agreed with. That means that of the 4 drives, it puts it into one large drive, but then the RAID creates redundancy. And all that means is that I put 4 terabytes, 4 terabytes, 4 terabytes, 4 terabytes, 16 terabytes total. But in a RAID array, I only have 12 usable terabytes. Now, what that allows me to do, though, is that if one of these hard drives were to fail, all I do is I pop out that hard drive, I put in a brand new good hard drive, and then the other 3 can use an algorithm to repair whichever hard drive failed. Okay, so setup was basically that. It set it up into a RAID, and then once you're in here, you just pull up the file manager, and dropping files onto it is incredibly simple. While I'm at my desk, this will be plugged into my computer, and I can just like super fast send files, pull files, really, really simple. And then when I'm away from this system, then I'm accessing this through the internet. And multiple ways to do that. I can do the app on here, or I can do the app on my phone. There's a UGREEN phone app, which makes my life incredibly simple. So from here, I can tap into File Manager. Now, I haven't put a ton of files on here because, again, I'm for sure going to be swapping this out for, I'm probably going to do 24 terabyte hard drives, because if I did 24, 24, 24, 24, and then I put it into a RAID array, that 96 terabytes would become 72 terabytes. Is that right? But in here, from my phone, I can just tap into here and see all the files that are on here. So if I'm across the world, just from this app, I am remotely accessing the files that are here sitting on my desk. And same thing is from across the world. I can send files from my computer or from my phone to this hard drive. And as someone that travels a lot, like the idea of the redundancy, right? So I go out for a trip, I film stuff, I photograph stuff, I take all of that and I send it via the internet back here. It's already home. If something were to happen to my SD cards or my cameras while I'm traveling home, they're all lost. All the files are already home. They've all beat me back home. And if I do at some point have an editor that is back home, I can send the files home and the editor can start working on them right away. This whole system makes me like wonder why I didn't do this sooner. The reason, again, is the setup process on other NAS systems, it's not this easy. Okay, so I can go in here, I can do all that. There's also apps built into this app. So in the UGREEN desktop app, I can go into App Center and I can load different apps on here. One of them is Photos, and the Photos is actually pretty slick. It kind of works a lot like Google Photos would or Apple Photos, where you have all your photos in here. You can view them by year or month or day and sort through them and actually see the photos in here. I can click into them. I can swipe through them like super, super fast. There's no like lag. You know, like sometimes you swipe in an app and then like loads. There's none. Like, look how fast I can swipe and it's like instantly, boom, the photo's there already. That's huge for me. I can download the photos. So I'm downloading photos. Boom, I just tap download and boom, I've downloaded the photo from this through the internet back to my phone. Again, that's just freaking great. Right now I am accessing my files remotely from the other side of town to my hard drive that's sitting on my desk. Now, a couple of things about the Photos app in particular. The Photos app, when you install it on your NAS, it creates a Photos folder in the personal folder section, and any folders or files that you put in there will be available in the Photos app. So they'll be searchable. You can flip through them. You can have people's faces assigned by the AI in there. Now, one cool thing though is that I'm in here on my iPad looking at these files, and I'm looking at Leica RAW files. So all, or a bunch of at least, Leica, Sony, and Nikon, these are all RAW files that I'm flipping through, and I can just flip through them on my NAS this quickly from across town. I'm actually using my phone's cell network with the iPad. It's just paired up to it, and I can flip through these files that quickly just from here. Now, if I actually want to download it, I do say view original, and now it's going to go through the process of actually downloading. But there's a preview file on there, so I can just burn through my raw files again from anywhere. And I can be uploading files to my NAS from anywhere. On my phone, I did the auto backup feature, so now all of the photos that are on my phone are being backed up to my NAS, and any new photos or videos that I take with my phone automatically get backed up to the NAS on my desk at home. Why in the world did I not do this sooner? And then there's also like a bunch of AI features. So I can go in here and it has set up AI albums for me. So I can do like people. I can go in here and see all the photos of my wife or my daughter or me. So that's really cool. That's very like Apple-esque or Google Photos-esque. You can also do like by location. You can create photo albums in here, view common album, conditional album. That's kind of cool. You can say like, hey, I want an album of all photos from this date to this date, and all photos that are on here will be put in there. Now, before we talk build quality, let's talk about the sharing. Like why I probably will cancel something like Dropbox or Google Drive once I have this thing fully built out with the hard drives that I'm actually going to use. Again, I'm probably going to put 24s in each of these bays so that I have a really, really large setup, and that amount of space on something like Dropbox or Google Drive would cost a fortune and would only be as fast as those download speeds. But with this, yes, I can hardwire to this. Yes, I can remotely access it, but just like Dropbox and Google Drive, I can send you or someone that I'm working with or a client, I can send them a link to a folder that's on here. So I can let other people access this. I can even set up passwords and usernames for this, so someone like an editor could be able to log into my NAS remotely from wherever they are and only access the files and folders that I say that their username and admin can access. Man, I feel like there's so many times that this would have been way more helpful for me than something like Dropbox. Let's get this thing unplugged so I can show you some of the ports on the back. This thing is like stupidly fast. When I have this thing hardwired in, again, speeds of up to 1,250 megabytes a second. That is 1 terabyte of transfer in 20 minutes. That's ridiculous. This thing also has a 12th gen 5-core Intel processor, so it has an Intel processor built into it. That's what's running all the software that's on top of it. And then on the front here, you've actually got an SD card reader right on the front. So again, something that I'm not sure if I'm gonna use very often, but again, nice to have. USB-C on front, USB 3.2 on front. Who is this thing for? This is for anyone that wants to own their own cloud. So be able to have direct hardline into your cloud, and then while you're anywhere else remote, you are accessing your actual cloud, your actual hard drive that's sitting on your desk at home. When you're out and about and you need to back up your files, you're backing them up to the hard drive on your desk. And again, for me, the biggest deal here was just the setup was so incredibly simple. This thing was a breeze to set up. It is World Backup Day coming up, so UGREEN is offering 20% off of these guys. Go down the link in the description, shoot over to UGREEN if you guys have any questions on this thing that you want me to test out or anything that you just want to know about it. Okay, I'm gonna get all this hooked back up. Again, comments down below, and I will see you soon. What are you doing out here, bud?
Just playing.
You're just playing? You're trying to look at that one? Hold on. Let me do that one on. Is it recording? See if you can get your head all the way up there. That looks so funny. Yeah, do a big smile so that you can see your teeth. Look at that missing tooth, dude. Holy cow. Go inside. Get out of here. I gotta work. Get out of here. Get out of here.